Hare Krishna. Gurudev Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadad Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo. So we're reading from the Srimad Bhagwatam. Eighth canto, 20th chapter, first verse. Also, we are reading together the verses. No? Sorry. Okay, not today. Not today. Or we can just read two or three. Narayan. Narayan. Sarvabhautam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamurli Nashpriyesho Nitam Bhagavasevaya Bhagavate Tavashto Bhakti Bhagavate Ete Samsakshavatam Samkrishnato Bhavan Svayam Indriya Bhavambo Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranasanam Pranami Prasanavastam Namami Harisaram. So, it canto Srimad Bhagavatam, 20th chapter, first verse. So the chapter is entitled Bali Maharaj Surrenders the Universe. Sri Shuka Vacha. Balir evam grihapati kulacharyen bhashitaha tushnim bhutva kshanam rajan uvacha vahipurodhuram. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, O King Parikshit, when Bali Maharaj was thus advised by his good master Shukracharya, his family priest, he remained silent for some time. And then, after full deliberation, he replied to his good master as follows. Purport. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks that Bali Maharaj remained silent at a critical point. How could he disobey the instruction of Shukracharya, his spiritual master? It is the duty of such a So personality as Bali Maharaj to abide by the orders of his master immediately, as his master has advised. But Bali Maharaj also considered that Shukracharya was no longer to be accepted as master, for he had deviated from the duty of his master. According to Shastra, the duty of the Guru is to take the disciple back home, back to Godhead. He is unable to do so and instead hinders the disciple in going back to Godhead. He should not be a Guru. Guru Nasasyat. This is the verse of the Srimad Bhagwatam, 5th canto, 5th chapter, text number 18. One should not become a Guru if you cannot enable his disciple to advance in Krishna consciousness. The goal of life is to become a devotee of Lord Krishna, so that one may be free from the bondage of material existence. So Arjuna. Anyone knows this verse? Which one is this verse? Bhagavad Gita, which chapter? Janma karma chale divyam evam yore tattva yattva thoda jana naitimam iti so Arjuna. So one, Janma karma chale divyam. One who knows about Krishna's birth, his activities, which are transcendental. Tattvataha, in truth, then he will not have to take birth. So now we know Krishna something, but we should know Krishna in truth. We should realize Krishna as he is. The Spirit Master helps the disciple by developing Krishna consciousness. Now Shukracharya has advised Bali Maharaj to deny the promise to Vamandev. Under the circumstances, therefore, Bali Maharaj told that there will be no fault if he disobeyed the order of his Spirit Master. He deliberated on this point. Should he refuse to accept the advice of his Spirit Master, or should he independently do everything to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead? He took some time. Therefore, he said, Tushnim Putrakshanam Rajan Uvasha Havito Guru. After deliberating on this point, he decided that Lord Vishnu should be pleased in all circumstances, even at the risk of ignoring the Guru's advice to the contrary. Anyone who is supposed to be a Guru but who goes against the principle of Vishnu Bhakti cannot be accepted as Guru. If one has falsely accepted such a Guru, one should reject him. Such a Guru is described as follows, Mahabharata, Udyog. Guru Atyavayittasya Karyakaryam Janatah Udpata Pratipannasya Parityaga Vidiyate. So Jiva Goswami has advised that such a useless Guru, a family priest acting as Guru, should be given up, and that the proper bona fide Guru should be accepted. Sakarmani Purna Vipranantra Tantra Vishadadah Vaishnava Guru Nasyat Vaishnava Swapacha Guru. A scholarly Brahmana expert in all subjects of Vedic knowledge is unfit to become a spiritual master without being a Vaishnava. But if a person born in a family of a lower caste is a Vaishnava, he can become a spiritual master. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yatavadakamaram Sri Guru Vaishnavascha Srirupam Sarvadhatam Sahagana Ragatam Santam Sadevam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Padanasaitam Krishna Chetam Devam Srirada Krishna Padam Lalita Sri Vicharam Vidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Namaste Saragaurangi Prad Nidavadeshwari Vrishabam Panchara Sarvabhyashta Kripa Sindhu Bhairvacha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare So, very interesting subject matter here from the Srimad Bhagwatam. So, Sukadeva Goswami is explaining to Parikshit Maharaj about the life of Bali Maharaj, a great devotee of the Lord, grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. So, we all know this pastime. So, you have heard the last few classes how Shukracharya, the family priest, was telling Bali Maharaj not to surrender to Brahman, who is the supreme personality of Godhead. Bali Maharaj is explained in this verse that he remained silent for some time because if the spirit master is giving advice, then one has to follow the advice. Actually, usually immediately without hesitation. But because Shukracharya advised him not to surrender to the Supreme Lord, therefore he remained silent and thinking very carefully. Then he replied to the Spirit Master. So here in the purport, Prabhupada is quoting Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that ordinarily one should not disobey the instructions of the Spirit Master. It is also mentioned that there may be one exception. If the Spirit Master is advising the disciple, a brahmachari, to get married, then he may frankly say that I'm not willing to get married. But even that, of course, is very rare that the brahmachari would do that. And we can see in Prabhupada's time, sometimes actually, Prabhupada was telling his disciples, you should marry them. Most of them, practically all of them, they agreed. One time, Prabhupada also, of course, but mostly he encouraged his brahmacharis to remain brahmacharis even to enter the sannyas ashram. And one time he asked one disciple to enter the sannyas ashram, but he felt qualified that he actually also told Prabhupada that Prabhupada, I don't think so, I'm qualified and I cannot enter the sannyas ashram. And then Prabhupada didn't force him, he didn't push him. But usually the disciple is expected to follow the instructions of the Spirit Master. So as we know, there are 10 offenses in regards to chanting holy names, which is the most important name of devotion service, as chanting holy names. And so the third is to disobey the spiritual master or to consider him not labor. But if the spiritual master is giving some wrong advice, then he may be rejected also, as is the case here. So very politely, that is also another point to consider. And it is mentioned that one should not argue with the spiritual master also. So therefore, you very politely replied to the spiritual master. So out of respect. But he didn't agree, and so he frankly explained to him that I cannot follow your instruction. And Prabhupada is mentioning that the Bhagavad considered that he may not surrender to the Supreme Lord, so how I can accept him then as my spiritual master. So Prabhupada is quoting some verses from Mahabharata in this regard. And also Jiva Goswami has advised similarly. Guru Abhyavanittasya Karyakaram Ajanata Utpata Pripanasa. So if the spiritual master becomes bewildered and does not know Ajanata, Karya, what to do and what not to do. So this time Parityaga reject the spiritual master. So the spiritual master, he will always advise the disciple surrender to Krishna, and especially in the age of Kali, to chant the holy names. That is the Yuga Dharma. Saguru Sapita Tati Samatha Bandhavisa Shiksha Chittarasmatam Harinama Kevalam. These are some verses in glorification of the holy names of the Lord. The Yuga Dharma. 8 verses are there. So one should be guru, son, pitta, not the father and mother. If one is not instructing his disciples, his children, his dependents to chant the holy names, the mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare. So that is most important. That the master will instruct the disciple to chant the holy names, a prescribed number of rounds, as Prabhupada advised his disciples to chant at least 16 rounds. At the time of initiation, the devotees, they have to take the vow, sankalpa, declare that I will chant every day 16 rounds throughout my life. And Prabhupada many times he said at least 16. So means we may chant more also, if possible. So the different spiritual masters that has been explained in the scriptures, Srila Prabhupada also, and the purport, in one of the purports of the Upadeshamrita verses, the Rupa Goswami is explained. 3 kinds of devotees are there. Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam. In a general way, we may say. So the unified devotee, the intermediate devotee, and the pure devotee or the advanced devotee, Uttam Adhikari. And the symptoms are also mentioned in the verse, in the scriptures. Other than the purpose, the prophet is explaining that one has to be careful and one should try to take shelter and initiation from the spiritual master who is on the highest stage, Uttam Vaishnava. Because otherwise, the Spirit Master may not be able to guide the disciple properly on the Spirit. So the Uttam Vaishnava is empowered by the Supreme Lord and is expert in the scriptures, Shastravid, Vedantavid, there's knowledge about Vedanta, Siddhantavid, what is the conclusion of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya? So that you must know. And then, especially in our Sampradaya, Rasa Shastravid, you should know the scriptures given by our acharyas in regards to Braj Bhakti and how to attain a perfection. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Kali Yuga Avatar. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahayanya is not different from Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. And he has come to establish the Yuga Dharma, the chanting of the holy names, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare. And Mahaprabhu, who is no different from Krishna, who is Swayam Bhagavan, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he can give any power. But specifically, he came to give Braj, the loving sentiments of the inhabitants of Krishna in Braj. And specifically, Unadujjalaras. He wanted to give the Madhurya Bhav because he's not different from Radha Krishna. And who is together with Radha Krishna? The gopis and the manjaris. So, and Mahaprabhu mostly is thinking about Radha Krishna and the wonderful pastimes of Radha Krishna in Braj. Of course, sometimes thinking about Mother Yashoda also, Nanda Baba, the friends, Sudam, Sridham, the cows and the cows. But mostly is absorbed in remembering Radha and Krishna. Because he's not different from Radha and Krishna. Radha Bhava Jyoti Savitam Name Krishna Sarupam. So it's Krishna Sarup, it's Krishna himself, but he came with the power and the luster of Srimati Radha. So he's experiencing Radha Pranaya Mahima. The glories of Radha is love. That is one stage of love. And then by her love, she's experiencing Krishna's wonderful qualities, Rupa Madhurya, Venu Madhurya, Dina Madhurya, Prem Madhurya. Krishna's wonderful qualities, his beauty, and his loving exchange, Prema Madhurya, especially when Krishna is playing the flute, most beautiful. And most wonderful pastimes are in Braj. So Radharani is experiencing to the highest degree. And then the transcendental bliss she is experiencing. So that Mahaprabhu is experiencing. And he came to give that to the qualified persons. But Mahaprabhu's instructions, as here the book is also here, and the reading of Chaitanya Charitamrita is going on also. Madhya Lila, also 20th chapter, the Lord instructs Sanatana Goswami in Benares. Wonderful, important instructions. So gradual process of devotional service is there. First, we have to follow some rules and regulations. We have to know what to do and what not to do. And then one has to especially chant the holy names, and one should worship the deities. And then one has to hear about sadhana, proper behavior, even panasha, because every human being has to be in one varna or one ashram. One has to be engaged according to one's psychophysical nature. That is important. And so that's when the rules are there to be followed. So the devotee has to know. And then he may advance also. Seva sadhaka rupena siddha rupena chatra hitatavalipusanakaya rajulokana sarata. So verse by Rupa Goswami explaining that we perform devotional service twofold. One is a sadhaka, practicing devotee, chanting holy names, worshipping the spiritual master, the deities, hearing about the process of devotional service, hearing about the different devotees as explained in the Bhagwatam and Bhadi Maharaj. So then we have to hear. And then we may anchor in Braj Bhav. And then especially sort of a spontaneous platform, remembering the eternal associates of Krishna and Raj. So that is the duty of the spirit master in our sampradaya. So, Rasa Tattvavid. So he should know about the loving transcendental affairs of Krishna with his associates in Braj, and especially Gopis, which is most exalted. So that is a bona fide spirit master in a Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So Uttamadikari. And then we can advance. And then, as mentioned in the nectar of devotion, 64 limbs of devotional service. First is Guru Padashaya, taking shelter of the Spirit Master. And then we may take initiation. And then we follow his instructions. Diksha, that is the beginning of spiritual life action. And then we may advance. So one has one Diksha Guru, but we may have several Shiksha Guru. Shiksha Guru is actually on the same platform of realization of the Diksha Guru. If you see the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that is explained also. Diksha Guru is a representation of Krishna's Sarup, Krishna's form. And Shiksha Guru is the representation of Krishna's Sarup, Krishna's nature, Krishna's mood. So Krishna's inside and outside is no different ultimately, but still there's a difference. We may see Krishna like in the temple, Ras Bihari. We can see, everyone has seen Ras Bihari today? Everyone has Nashram? Okay. What dress they're wearing today? Purple and silver. So we can see Krishna to some extent at least. So Krishna. What is Krishna? So when you do darshan, what was Krishna thinking, you know? No, not easy to understand. But the advanced devotee, he knows. So Krishna is with Srimati Radha, Shyam Sundar. But here is whitish. Radha, white. Why his complexion is white? Radha Chitta Nivesanam Yasya Virovidasi Krishna Charanam Mande Radha Vigraha. So Krishna, Radha Chitta Nivesanam. Krishna is thinking about Srimati Radharani. And then his complexion is changing to white or golden. Because Radharani is golden and Krishna also becomes golden. And the pastime is there actually in Vamsivat. In Vamsivat, so Vasvila was there and Radharani left because there were so many gopis and Krishna left. And then Sringarvat is there, he was meeting Radharani and combing her hair. But then he left her also, and he went to Imlita. There's one Imli, very tree, and he was sitting there. So much so that his complexion changed to golden, and so the gopis, so they were all looking for Krishna. And then they saw golden complexion, handsome, young person. Looks like Krishna, but he's golden in complexion. He doesn't have the fruit. And they put up together. And then he come nearer and nearer. And Krishna speaking about Radharani. And then Radharani comes close in front of him. Then he's opening his eyes and he's seeing Radharani. And then, of course, his remembrance of Radharani is not needed anymore. And then he becomes blackish in complexion again. So the spirit master, he is understanding this transcendental subject matter. Nikunjayo no nantige visita yaya So everyone knows the verse, right? So you know the translation? What is the translation?
Expert in his seva.
Okay, very good. The spirit master is there. Sadhu, sadhu. Sadhu means a spirit person, of course, a saintly person. Sadhu also means well done, bravo, bravo. Even in Krishna, and the gopis are dancing, and sometimes Krishna, okay, now I'm dancing alone, and Krishna is like dancing. And all the gopis clapping, sadhu, sadhu. And Krishna is telling Radharani that now you dance, and she's dancing, and everyone, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Well done, well done. So the spirit master, Shiradika Madhavya Par Madhurya Lila Guru Rupa Namna Pratikshana Swadana Guru Pasya Bhante Guru Sri Charanaravinda. So the spirit master is taking pleasure in speaking about Radha Krishna. So he wants to speak every moment, but at the same time, we have to also speak sometimes about the process of devotional service, and we have to speak about Bali Maharaj also. So, but then it's Sutta Vaishnava is absorbed in these topics. But then, in order to instruct the disciples, then he will tell them that you have to chant 16 rounds, not less. 16 rounds, yes, every day, 16, everyone, 16. And then, so what to do, what not to do, and you have to read the whole Bhagwatam. So the Spirit Master will instruct. So he's expert, and he can guide the disciple from the beginning stage, so he can come up and up and up and up. So that is first class. If it's not first class, then he cannot help so much. So Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru, they are the highest level. So Shiksha Guru, usually Diksha Guru is Shiksha Guru also. But if he leaves this world or is engaged in preaching, then the disciple may approach a Shiksha Guru, a devotee who is highly advanced, who can help. And then, also there are Vatma Pradarsha Guru. Vatma means the path, Pradarsha. One is showing the path. So he's an instructor. So he has a realization and he's practicing. And so in Prabhupada is explained in this regards. The pure devotee, the Shiksha Guru here has both feet in the spiritual world. He's realized. And the other one also that refers to the Madhya Guru, he has one foot So that Yuktam has both in the spiritual world. He may be Nitya Siddha, eternal associate, or he may be Sarana Siddha or Kripa Siddha. So he's realized. Of course, highest is the Nitya Siddha because he's never has been under the influence of the material energy. Whereas Saran Siddha, Kripa Siddha, so he has come to that perfection stage. But then it's practically like a Nitya Siddha also. But still some distinction is made. So then the spirit master Manimarikali, he has one foot in the spirit world and one foot is here. So it's not yet completely liberated. And then the Kadishta, so he has some knowledge, he has heard something, and he's on this in this world with both feet, and he has heard something, he has seen something of the spirit world. And so Bhatma Pradasha Guru is a practicing devotee, some realization, some experience, and therefore he can help the devotees who are new. And sometimes the expression is there also of Bhajan Guru or who shows the process of devotional service. So different terms are there. So of course, if you see the Sanskrit word Shatakosh, Sanskrit vocabulary as there, so the word guru, so that can have different meanings. So guru means the spirit master, but it can also refer to elders. Like for example, the father and mother, they're also guru because they're also giving instructions. How to advance in spiritual life or even how to live in this world because that is necessary too. So that is there. Also, in regards to the Sanskrit, so for example, the different words are there. And amatra is there. So is lagu and is guru. I, right? So short is lagu and long is guru. Guru also means heavy. Yes, knowledge is heavy with knowledge, and the spirit master sometimes it's heavy like a thunderbolt. Yes, sometimes correct the disciple, but mostly soft like a rose, and very fragrant. It's a rose. So they, especially in India, the roses, they're very soft, but they quickly fall apart. And they're very fragrant, but you can get some other roses, English roses, they are hard and there's no smell. So we prefer the Indian roses, which are soft and fragrant. So the spirit master is also soft. So, but according to time, place, and circumstances, so he has to sometimes be heavy also. Also, Sri Prabhupada, sometimes he was very heavy. But mostly was very soft, very kind, very merciful. So, so Bali Maharaj, so he did the right thing with his spirit master. Also, Shukracharya, also significant already from the word. Shukra means seaman in Sanskrit, and so sometimes there's a seminal line of guru, and so that is usually also many times explained not ideal. So the spirit master is there, and then his son also becomes spirit master, then his son, although they may not be qualified. So that is indicated here also. So he was not completely qualified. He was a Brahmana, but he was not a pure devotee of the Lord. And he was very materialistic. So such a guru he cannot have. Usually also when we speak guru, sadguru, sad is transcendental, it's free from the modes of material nature. So the pure devotee, so it's completely free. But sometimes it may be that still, if one is Madhyavadikari Guru, still he can help, but he's not completely liberated. Some purities may be there, slight impurities, but still, they should be respected also. The Sadhguru is very rare, who is on the highest stage of pure devotional service. And then also, of course, there is one thing, the Guru, but the disciple should be qualified too. So, and he should try to follow the instructions of the spirit master. And, so, have proper behavior. Hari Bhakti Vilas Sanatana Goswami, as it is described, Mahaprabhu gave instructions to Sanatana Goswami, as mentioned in this 20th chapter. And then he wrote, especially one book, a few books he wrote. One is Hari Bhakti Vilas, and the 20th chapter Vilas. And there is he has explained about the qualification of Guru, the qualification of disciple, and then he's explaining about Vana ashram, the different vanas and ashrams and the duties and the rules and regulations about how to worship the Lord and so on. So that we should know. So this master is explaining also, and that the disciple has to know. And he has to try to become qualified also by following the regulative principles, and especially by chanting the holy names in the prescribed number, 16 rounds. So we go over time. 5 minutes, grace. So, Yashravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Achanam Bhantanam Tasyam Sakyamatna Nivedanam. So the ninefold process of devotional service we hear from the Spirit Master about devotional service. We hear the holy names, then we chant the holy names, then we can remember. Hearing and chanting, and then we can remember the Lord. Otherwise, in the age of Kali, not possible. And then when we can properly remember the Lord, then we can serve. And we should offer prayers also, Vandana, Dasya, in the mood of, I am the servant of Krishna. Sambandhagya. In this way we should chant holy names, in this way we should worship the Lord. That is known as Vidimar. And the Prabhupada is explained, and after Satya, understanding that that's a wonderful relationship with Krishna. So that is the spontaneous platform, or more advanced, confidential. And then, and the different personalities are there, like Shukadeva Goswami is there for which name of devotional service? Kirtana. And Shravanam, Parichay. Smaranam, Prahlad. Dasyam, yes. And then Sakya, Arjuna. Yes. And then Vandanam, Akrur. Yes. And then Archanam, Ritu Maharaj. And then Atmanivedanam, prayers for Atmanivedanam, to fully surrender. So full surrender is actually only possible if one is in purified consciousness. In the beginning stage, we're trying to be humble, we're trying to have full faith. Despite all difficulties, still we don't give up. So that is not so easy. And to fully surrender. If one is on the most material nature, one cannot fully surrender, but at least one should try. So, but Bali Maharaj is the example of full surrender. He fully surrendered to the Supreme Lord. So, by good fortune, and of course, because his grandfather was Maharaj, so therefore he was able to understand what to do and what not to do. And so he surrendered completely to Krishna, and ultimately one day Krishna didn't go wrong. Krishna is the original spirit master. So Bali Maharaj did the right thing, and for this is glorified in the Srimad Bhagwatam, and is glorified by the devotees of the Lord. So yes, so in this way also indication is there that one has to be careful in spiritual life, and one has to take shelter of the spirit master, the bona fide spirit master, but then one has to always also take shelter of Krishna, depend on Krishna. So, but usually it is very rare that actual spirit master will deviate from the path. But it is there in the Bhagavatam, and it is there also given by the acharyas that it may happen. So these pastimes are there in the Bhagavatam, in the scriptures, so that we can learn, so that we are prepared in case that such a situation may arise. So therefore we have to read the whole Srimad Bhagavatam from the first canto till the last. Not that simply jump to the 10th canto, which is most beautiful and most wonderful, most realizable, but we have to go through the first to the 9th, and then we can read the 10th canto here from the 10th canto, but then we should read the 11th and the 12th canto also, so that okay, now 10th canto, now we can, and now I need to hear anything else. No. 11th and 12th canto are important. They're there for us to hear and to read. And the 11th canto, so Krishna is speaking to Uddhav. Almost the whole 11th canto is giving instructions to Uddhav about devotional service, about Varnashram. And there's one full chapter about deity worship. So we should be under the guidance of the Spring Master, but then we have to also take shelter of Krishna. Usually then the Spring Master will actually say always, he will not say you serve me, you surrender to me, but he will say you surrender to Krishna. But it is understood that we have to surrender first to Guru. And then by his mercy we can surrender to Krishna. So also in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada is explained in the 10th chapter, the mool shlokas are there, then 8, 9, 10, 11. So 10, 10, Tesham Sataryotanam Bhajatam Pritipurvakam Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mahapupayantite. So those who are constantly devoted to me, Bhajatam Pritipurvakam, who are doing bhajan with priti, with love. Dadami Buddhi Yogam Yena Mahapupayantite. To them, I give the knowledge by which they can come to me. So Krishna is there to guide us, to help us. Also, this mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Diksha Shiksha Guru are there, and the Antaryami, the Super Soul, is there to help us. So, and Krishna is always trying to help us, but in the conditioned state, the conditioned soul, he cannot fully understand the guidance of Krishna. Therefore, the spiritual master becomes present. By the mercy of the Lord, Diksha Shiksha Guru, even Varna Pradashak Guru, to help. So therefore, but in this purport to this verse, that That some, if one is surrendered to Krishna, even sometimes one may not be able, proper is right thing, to take proper guidance from the Spirit Master. One may not be able, but then Krishna will give guidance from inside. So from inside, Krishna is helping, and Krishna Kripa Srimurti, the Spirit Master, is the embodiment of the mercy of Krishna. So in this way we are helped. But we have to surrender also. So that is there, like Bali Maharaj surrender. So we have to surrender, we have to endeavor to surrender fully with body, mind, and words. And then we'll get the mercy, then we get the guidance, and then we can advance and ultimately attain perfection. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. We are in time constraint. Maharaj can go for very long, but still we have 5-10 minutes, and that we can have question answers. And the topic that is today related. So I can start with my question first.
Sure, yeah.
Since this topic is regarding to disobey, here, Guru, Shukracharya, the Guru who has organized this yajna, is doing this yajna for the satisfaction of God. When this yajna was happening,
Yes.
he was doing it because he knew that this is for the Lord. So my question is that sometime we know that we have to do activities for the Lord. We know. Then also we break the rules. It happens with the person as a disciple also. It happens with sometimes the Shiksha Guru also. And we have seen in our institutions that some of the Maharajas also leave and fall down.
Yes.
So in 3 cases where a disciple is also breaking the rules, sometimes the Shiksha Guru is also breaking the rules even though he knows.
Yes.
And sometimes we see that the Guru Maharaj also leaves and goes away. So, first of all, why this happens? And if it has happened in somebody's life, if he is falling down, what is the precaution or what are the reasons for a disciple, for a Shiksha Guru, and for a Diksha Guru? Can you summarize what are the reasons behind that? Like here we can understand that it was the swarth of Shukracharya that he was thinking. But in ISKCON, when we are dealing, sometimes a person who is taking Diksha, he also falls down and he starts not coming to the temple. He breaks the rules. He sometimes, and sometimes, as a Shiksha Guru, so we have seen so many brahmacharis.
Yes.
Who have
Broken the rules.
And they have exploited Matajis, they have exploited Prabhujis in the name of Shiksha Guru.
Right. Yes.
And we have seen sannyasis also in the past, many sannyasis.
Yeah.
They had so many dikshas, and they have also left.
Yeah.
So what are the lessons that we learn from all these things and how we have to protect ourselves in future?
The lesson is to be very careful. You have to be very careful. So spirit life is like a razor's edge. So the man who is shaving, so unusually, so the razors, so the blade is very sharp. If you're not careful, then you cut yourself. So spiritual life is like a razor's edge. That is mentioned in Prabhupada is mentioned. It is mentioned in the scriptures also. So one has to be very careful in one's spiritual life. Therefore, one has to be humble. One has to be tolerant. One has to be respectful. One has to be in good association. And one has to pray to Guru, Gauranga, Krishna to help us. That we can see even the pure devotee. The pure devotee, they will never fall down, but the pure devotee in this world, even also, so they can feel, they can see Maya also. Even we can see Prabhupada one time he was in front of the deities and he was praying. And the tears came from his eyes. And after darshan, someone disciple asked Prabhupada, why you were crying? Of course, different kinds of cryings are there. And Prabhupada said, because I'm afraid of Maya and I'm praying to Krishna to protect me from Maya. And then Prabhupada one time he said to his devotees that you Western devotees, you are not enough afraid of Maya. But it is for everyone, so we have to be afraid of Maya and know that Maya is very strong. Of course, we should not be too much afraid either. Oh, I have to be careful and you're shivering. No. We should be confident also that Krishna will help us and we should be happy. Krishna consciousness should be happily performed. But at the same time, we should understand that we have to be careful because Maya is strong, Maya is very tricky. So that is there. So Prabhupada was praying and Bhaktivinoda Thakur also. Understanding that the pure devotees understanding I am very insignificant, so we'll naturally pray. So therefore we have to be humble and we have to take shelter of Krishna, Guru Garanga and Krishna, pray for help. So that is a natural symptom of a devotee. He will pray for help to Guru Garanga and Krishna. And so then we may be protected. But then, practically speaking, so we have to use our intelligence. Bhakti yoga is there, bhakti, priti, we do. And then also it is mentioned sometimes buddhi yoga. We have to use our buddhi, intelligence. Of course, material intelligence is also not sufficient, but we need spiritual intelligence, sad buddhi. So we have to pray for good intelligence. And then we may be able to be protected. And so we should be in good association. And for example, yes, so between man and woman, so this natural attraction is there. Natural attraction is there. Unless one is a pure devotee, fully realized, who is completely attracted to Krishna. Otherwise, everybody else is attracted to the opposite sex, usually. Of course, normally, some people are not normal, and that is more degraded, same-sex attraction, which is a kind of demoniac, but it is there also. And so we can see in this world, even in India, even unfortunately we have seen sometimes in our society, but it is due to the mode of ignorance, and someone has to try to overcome. But not easy to overcome the conditioned nature, but one has to try. So one has to be careful. So therefore, it is mentioned in the scriptures also that we should not sit alone in a room with a lady. So even it is mentioned one should not sit on the same seat with one's own mother, sister, or daughter, because Maya is so strong. And usually it is obvious, and that there's no such feeling towards one's mother and wife, and mother and daughter or sister, but it may also happen. So one has to be very careful of that. But that is extreme due to mode of ignorance, and we should understand it is due to mode of passion and ignorance. If one is in sattva-gun, so you will not be so much attracted towards that.
Prabhuji, what is the role of aparadha?
The role of aparadha.
Because what happens when we come in the spiritual life? Krishna says that I will protect you. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam. We always avashya rakshiko Krishna.
Yes.
But we have seen in the Saurabhi Rishi that he was very powerful, but he did the aparadha of Garuda.
Right.
And that's why he had to fall down from his foot.
Right.
We see from the lesson of Daksha Prajapati that he did the offense of Shivaji.
Yes.
And then power and position.
Right.
And that's why he had to lose his face and he had to go down. We see the position of Durvasa Rishi, how he offended
Ambarish Maharaj.
even though he was a great Rishi.
Right. Yes.
He offended Amrish Maharaj,
Yes.
and then he had to suffer.
Yes.
So, can we relate these things in our life also that if we do some offenses,
Definitely.
future
Yes.
we will have the Maya will attack us?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely, 100% true. If one is offending a Vaishnav, Vaishnava aparat, then there will be a reaction to that. And especially if one is offending a great Vaishnav, then it is known as Hati Mata aparat. Hati means elephant, Mata means mad elephant. In South India, you can still sometimes hear mad elephant is going. And the destruction will be there. People sometimes are killed. Even in Mayapur, maybe 1 year ago, there was have the elephant there, was something on the control, but then the caretaker was there taking the elephant, and then devotees were there and visitors were there, many people were there. And somehow the elephant got mad and trampled the caretaker and he died. And therefore now they're not allowed to do the procession with the elephant, which they were doing before.
Stop.
Yeah. So if one is offending a great Vaishnava, then the reaction will be there.
Only Vaishnava aparad or Nam aparad, Seva aparad, and Dham aparad. There's also comes in aparad.
Yeah, of course, 4 kinds of aparat are there, and this is actually anartha. The anartha is there, 4 kinds of Sat Krishna, Hridaya, Dorbarya, Swarup Brahma, and aparat. And each one has 4 subdivisions. So aparat, 4 kinds of aparat. Nam aparat, Seva aparat, Dham aparat, Vaishnava aparat, or Jiva Hingsa, even being how we say Hingsa, being not nice towards even other jivas, even animals also, unnecessarily killing or hurting embodied beings. So that is aparat. And by doing that, there will be a reaction. But so, Namaparat, Seva Parat, Dhamaparat, but the most severe reactions will come to offending a pure Vaishnava. But any Vaishnava, but especially pure Vaishnava, because it's very dear to the Lord. And then reaction will be there.
And the fall
down will be there. Yeah. If one is doing aparat, he's already fallen. Aparat is going away from aparata. So that is there. From the pure devotional service. Immediately, as soon as one is offending a great Vaishnava, means is already fallen. But then the reaction may come after some time also. Maybe not immediately, but after some time.
Maharaj, over here, now he is doing wrong thing.
Shukracharya, yes.
Here he is speaking, he has the power, he is not going to say that he is wrong actually. He is trying to say that he is going to convince that what I am going to do is
right. He's
not telling anything about wrong.
Yes.
And Ulta Shukracharya curses it. He curses it. Who? Bali Maharaj. So sometimes it may happen that there are neophyte devotees, and in the find, they may think that the senior devotees are doing wrong, and they start speaking to them.
Right.
Is it aparadha or what is it?
Yes. Well, it depends. If a senior devotee is doing something wrong, it is something wrong.
No, in management, sometimes it happens that they have to make certain decisions.
Yes.
In the management.
Yes.
And they may say that they are doing wrong management.
Well, if he's doing something, we have to see what he's doing, but yes, sometimes he has to do, it depends what it is.
Yes.
Like, for example, if he's telling one devotee, okay, now you have been going on Sankirtan, but now I will change your seva, and now we should worship the deities. And then he will feel, no, no, I don't want to do that. And then, and then he will criticize him. So that is not right. That is not right. But if a person who is in the leading position is having some illicit activity, and then somebody is pointing out, that is not aparat. But of course, one has to be careful, and it's not that you have to post it somewhere, but better to say to some other authority that we have seen that and it is not right. And that if that person is not doing something, then you may go to the higher authority, like this. So, yeah. So, but it is, so we have to be careful. But yes, sometimes the situation is very delicate and very difficult. Very difficult, yes. And we have seen, unfortunately, things which are not completely right, but what to do? Difficult situation, yeah.
So in that role, what is the role of the deity and what is the role of Lord in such a situation? We are, yes, you are telling that we have to always pray for that.
Yes, so Krishna is very merciful and Krishna is very tolerant also. He's tolerating the devotees who are doing what they want. But sometimes then he will do something also, but sometimes it will take some time also. Just like the Pandavas. They were not wrong, not doing anything wrong. They're supposed to be kings.
Yeah.
But then Duryodhan just did things which are not proper and sent them in exile for 13 years. Krishna was there with the Pandavas. And they didn't even complain to Krishna. But of course, maybe also they must be thinking also what's happening here, and Krishna is there. But still, but they didn't express it, it's not mentioned anywhere that they were saying to Krishna, Krishna, what's happening? Help, please. Except Draupadi, when they were taking, in the gambling match, and Dusasan was trying to take her cloth off, which would have been a disgrace. And so Pandavas were there, ready to protect her. Bhima and Arjuna stood up, but then Yudhishthira said, no, just. And they were boiling. And also Draupadi, but then she was, of course, as a woman, usually less strong. So then she called out, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Then Krishna supplied the cloth. And then, so this way protected her. So that is the situation. So the Krishna will ultimately is helping, but sometimes it will take some time. Or Krishna has sometimes a plan. Like even Haridas Thakur was beaten in 22 marketplaces. And he simply tolerated. But Krishna also Mahaprabhu protected. Even later on, Mahabharata Prakash, he showed. Even he showed his back to Haridas Thakur, look, I protected you when you were beaten. He took some of the beating. So he's protecting, but sometimes you may not see. So sometimes he has a plan for his devotees, and then he has to go through some difficulties and some great difficulties and what to do. And so sometimes we cannot understand, and we just have to accept the situation. And we have seen many instances, even in our society, even towards all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas and in our society, how some wonderful devotees, like Govinda Maharaj, so how he had to undergo so much difficulty. And what he was doing, he wasn't doing anything wrong. He was preaching about Mahaprabhu, about Krishna, about Braj Bhakti. So some they didn't like it for some reason. And even they didn't allow him in many temples to go and preach. I'm speaking too much about Krishna. What to do? So much so that he left this world. We can simply inconceivable somehow. And we wonder sometimes what's going on here. But anyhow, we have to continue with our devotional service and we pray, because that is the material world. Problems are always there. Mahaprabhu's time, the Muslims were there disturbing the devotees. The Pandavas were disturbed by their own family. So what to do? And this is the material world, we have to understand. It is a miserable place. It's not a place for a gentleman. So we have to try to get out of this place. When you go to the bathroom, you don't stay too long there. Now you do your business and you get out. So we in this material world, we should get out. But the thing is that it's not so easy to get out. But we try our best to get out of this situation. So difficulties will always be there. And the thing is actually, the more we try to advance, the more the difficulties will be there. Like you go to school, the higher you go, the more difficult the exams are there. And also the saying is, if you sit on the throne, there are many thorns. On the throne, if you sit on the throne, there are thorns. There's a saying. Somebody's pinching you. So that is the material world that we have to tolerate. Adhyatmika, Adhidevika, Adhibhautik Klesh. But we go on. But sometimes it gets very intense. But what to do?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. So it's 9:15. Many people are coming from far. So we will wind up the session over here by saying three times Haribol. We are very, very fortunate to have Mukunda Prabhu from Vrindavan, who is a very, very dear to our Radha Shyama Sundar and Krishna Balaram. So we pray that he showers the mercy of that mercy which he has on all of us, so we can also get 1% of the bhakti what he has.
Krishna Bhakti Vastu, Krishna Bhakti, Hare Krishna. Braj Bhakti Astu.
2 minutes, Kirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.